Kavita will now garland Dr. Swamy.
Bhai, Dharmendra ji, Alukda ji, distinguished citizens of Houston City and members of the Hindu Mahasabha of Houston. I am to speak to you today about corruption and its cure. And I'll address what I am going to say in three parts. First, I'll try to define corruption, because there's a lot of, the word is used very loosely for almost everything. Second is why it's bad for the country. Corruption is not only just two people exchanging money, which is illegal, but it has a deep impact on the country. So in what way is that impact? And then finally I'll deal with the question of cure. Corruption for us has to be necessarily the misuse of public office for private gain. We cannot make everything corruption. Taking money in a dowry, as a dowry, is not corruption, it's extortion. The Congress party recently accused Swami Ramdev of himself engaging in corruption by accepting black money. Now Congress had no explanation how is that black money. He said it's in cash, he accepts it in cash. Supposing I'm a very corrupt person and I have a lot of black money and I carry it in my pocket and I go and buy taxi, and when the fare, time to come for me to pay the fare comes and I take out the cash and give it to the taxi driver. The taxi driver, by accepting that cash, cannot be called corrupt because the money was black. A, he doesn't know, and B, there is no misuse of office. We are concerned essentially that people place faith in public officials and they are supposed to serve the country and do what is best for the country. And if they only do what's best for them, then that is corruption, that's misuse of office. So in that sense, we define corruption, and there is a specific act in the country called the Prevention of Corruption Act, under which public officials can be prosecuted. There is a provision in that which says that a public official cannot be prosecuted unless the appointing authority of that public official is satisfied that there is a prima-facie case against that person. There is a filtering device, because the government, parliament did not want to empower people to file cases against anybody at any time on the flimsiest of excuses. That would be harassment. Presently, our criminal law is such that anybody can go to a court and say the following offense has taken place, and the police should be directed to investigate the matter, and prosecution should be launched. But in the case of public officials, you have to get a clearance. So if you want to prosecute a minister, you have to ask the chief minister in the state or the prime minister in the center. If you want to prosecute the prime minister, then you have to ask the president. If you want to prosecute the president, well, on what will you prosecute it? Because the president acts on the advice of the cabinet. So therefore, there is no way you can prosecute the president under corruption law. Same thing with chief minister. If you want to prosecute the chief minister, you have to ask the governor. for permission to go to court. So, therefore, let's be very clear, if you use or misuse your power to benefit somebody or yourself, that is corruption, and that is the part that we are concerned with. We are not concerned with any other kind of corruption, because that's not, doesn't have a nationwide impact. If you can cure this corruption, every other corruption, petty corruption, would be cured. If a policeman, after giving you a parking ticket, takes money and cancels your parking ticket, that's misuse of office. If a clerk changes the files, the speed at which it moves because you gave him some money, that's also corruption, because he's misusing his office. And the same thing if a minister gives a license for a person who's not deserving of it, then that's also corruption. So corruption, in a sense, is misuse of public office to deny the choice by merit. People who should get something on merit don't get it. And people who don't deserve it on merit get it because they pay money. That's the corruption that we are talking about. The impact of corruption is very widespread. It's not only that choice by merit is not made, so an inferior choice is made. I bring out a tender for building a road, and I pass the word around that whoever wants to get the tender will have to give me this much money. If the person all those who apply or file application for the tender, they think that that much of money if we give, then we will not make profit in making the road. So what happens is they still want the tender. So they give the money and then they use substandard material on the road, which road can be washed off with one monsoon. We have horrible roads in India, not because we don't know how to build roads. We build the best roads in the world. We built lovely roads in Malaysia, in Nigeria. In fact, we built roads in Iraq. And President Bush, not knowing that the Indians had built that road in Iraq, when the American tanks went from Basra to Baghdad, he complimented, said, at least one thing Saddam Hussein did, he built good roads. Saddam Hussein didn't build those roads, built by Indians. We built very good roads everywhere in the world except in India because of corruption. Same thing with the houses we have built in Russia, in Bulgaria, and so many other places. So consequently, because the choice is not of merit on merit, so substandard products are served to the public. Electricity is not available, there's power cut because of the fact that there's corruption. Electricity is being stolen, and to make up for it, they give you power cuts. So the public suffers because of a lack of choice on merit. And those who want to do things on merit, they are discouraged. So this is the first impact. It demoralizes the public. The second thing is that when you get money, and it has to be in black, you can't give it in check because check will be traced. What do you do with this money? Well, there are many things that are being done now. One is that I can't build a factory because that will also will come under the purview and it will come to the notice of the income tax. So therefore I spend the money. I go and dine every day in 5-star hotels. I hold big weddings. I put an air conditioner in every room, including the bathroom. I buy 6 Mercedes cars. Nowadays they buy even corporate jets. And these are something that ends up promoting luxury goods industries. The highest rates of return in Indian economy today are not in producing cloth for the millions, not in producing food grains for the people. It's not in producing consumer goods which the common man uses. But the highest rates of return today is in five-star hotels, in air conditioners, it is in luxury cars. These are the places where you get the maximum return. So what happens is the market forces then propel you to invest more and more in luxury goods and less in common man's good. And the whole investment priorities of your country, they get distorted. Today in India, over 70% of our investment goes directly or indirectly to produce luxury goods. This we cannot accept because so many people are poor and they require a better deal. Similarly, the money is used now because forward trading is allowed in food grains and agricultural products. This black money is used to, when the farmer is ready to bring the food grains, sugar cane, all these things to the market. Industrialists with black money, or politicians with black money, they buy these and prevent them from going to the market, and then they put it in the go-downs. And then when the prices rise, they sell. And having, since they sell it at that stage, there's inflation. India is having a growth rate of 9% per year and an inflation rate of 16% per year. This is against the laws of economics. If the supplies expand, the prices should come down. But in India, supply is also expanding and prices also going up because of hoarding. Third thing is a device which Mr. Chidambaram has perfected at the advice of his boss, Sonia Gandhi. And that is, Sonia Gandhi once is supposed to have complained to Mr. Chidambaram when he was finance minister, that these Swiss people, they are quite shameless people. They take our deposits and then they, instead of paying us interest, they charge us a service charge. So we have to pay them to keep our money. So we have to find some way by which money can be earned. So a new financial derivative was invented by the government of India, which is called participatory notes. Nowhere in any country in the world, not a single other country in the world, has this participatory note. And what is this participatory note? You send your money by Hala abroad, and then with this cash, you go to Morgan Stanley or to Fidelity Investments, and on the counter you put this cash and say, give me a participatory note. So they'll give you a piece of paper which will only have the amount, it will not have your name, it will have nothing. You take that participatory note and come back to India, and then through one of the mutual funds, you buy shares. After intimating the Reserve Bank that you've got this participatory note and you're going to use it. In fact, the mutual fund will do the informing to the Reserve Bank. Then this money infusion that has come into the stock market suddenly raises the stock market prices. At the height of the stock market prices, which you think is the height, you sell out. And that money that you get in rupees from the stockbroker, with your participatory note, you go to the Reserve Bank and they are obliged under the law, to convert the entire amount into foreign exchange and give it to you. And you can take it abroad. The SEBI, this Security Exchange Bureau of India, which is an oversight body like your Security Exchange Commission here in the United States, the law has been passed to exempt participatory note from examination by SEBI. Otherwise, if tomorrow you go honestly and buy shares, SEBI will ask you a question. Where did you get the money from? Who did you buy the shares from? And where are you going to put your shares? All kinds of questions they will ask you. But on participatory note, no questions. There was only one loophole in all this, that this participatory note, because you sell it at the top, you make a capital gains. So there's a capital gains tax. So to exempt that, Mr. Chidambaram brought a new regulation that if you come through Mauritius on a $1 company and invest in the stock market, then no capital gains tax, because Mauritius is a poor country, a brotherly country, so we are going to exempt Mauritius. Today, Mauritius is the largest supplier of foreign investment to India. What has Mauritius got? It's supplying more foreign investment to India than the United States. Mauritius, what is there? There are beaches there, gambling casinos there. How they are investing so much? This is all your money going by that route and coming back. So here again, you find that your stock market is getting rigged. Your agriculture market is rigged. Your investment priorities have been rigged. The whole economy has got rigged. And therefore tomorrow, one of these days it can collapse. That's why we are having these stock market crashes, booms and busts all the time. So look at the impact of corruption. It's not a minister getting some money and becoming rich. It is actually impacting the whole economy. It impacts your national security also. Because the Hawala is done by people who generally, 99.9%, owe allegiance to ISI of Pakistan. So Pakistan obviously would know who's putting money abroad, who's doing Hawala operations abroad. They can blackmail you with it. And with that blackmail, they can acquire certain advantages. You will be surprised to know that India, when it prints its currency notes, has to import currency paper. It doesn't produce currency paper. The finance ministry decided that they will buy this currency paper from England from a company called De La Rue. The intelligence bureau said, please don't buy it from De La Rue, because De La Rue also sells currency paper to Pakistan. So they will buy because these currency papers are watermark and things like that. Then they will, after all, businessmen or business companies abroad or business companies abroad. Pakistanis will buy currency paper of India, ask them to print more and take it and then use that to bring in forged notes into India. ISI today is now supplying 15% of your money supply through fake currency notes. And these fake currency notes are being used for financing terrorists. Pakistan over these last few years has developed such a network in India with this money that now no more need for a Kasab to come from Pakistan to blow up Bombay. Homegrown, unemployed youths have been recruited, radicalized, and now every city of India has got a cell of the Indian Mujahideen, which has affiliations to the Al-Qaeda. So your national security has also been affected. And once this greed for money starts growing, then you're prepared to do anything. What has happened in this 2G spectrum case? And why did I take it? I took it because I came to see that the amount of money was enormous. Later on, the CAG calculated as a loss of 1,76,000 crore rupees. When I presented this to the Supreme Court, the judge asked me, how many zeros is that? I said 11 zeros. He said, Baap re Baap, I've never seen so many zeros in my life. This is the magnitude of corruption that is taking place in India today. Because it's a growing economy. Telecom is growing so fast. We were in 2001 only 40 million handsets. Today we have 700 million handsets. Huge market and growing. Because now people have two, 3 handsets. So consequently, when this 2G spectrum, what is this 2G spectrum? You see, if I can simplify it, I don't want to do too much injustice to the science of airwaves, but let me simplify it. When you speak on a cordless phone, only your voice can go. And it goes in long cycles. If you want to send email and SMS, then you have to have a higher frequency. That's called the second generation or 2G. A lot of people don't know what 2G is. In fact, I asked Manmohan Singh once what is 2G, jokingly, and he said Sonia G and Rahul G. It's only higher waves, you know. So more information. If you want to send video of you talking and seeing the other person who's received the phone, then you have to have 3G, which is even more higher frequency. And the sky has to be partitioned. So it's a limited resource. And when the demand goes up, the price for spectrum should go up. But both Raja and later I found out Chidambaram together were empowered to decide the price. And what price did they decide? They decided that we will give spectrum in 2008 at the price that was prevailing in 2001. That means the price, which was 10 times more in 2008, was sold at 1/10 the price in 2001. So this is the first thing, and this is what has caused the loss. If you had sold it at the market price in 2008, the country would have got 1,76,000. That's about $44 billion. $44 billion extra, by which you could have wiped out your deficit. You could have financed your infrastructure. So many things you could have done with it. It's all gone because you sold it at this. Of course, Raja took two more steps. He wanted that of the people who apply, only few should apply. And therefore he introduced a system of complicated cut-off dates, all illegal. First he said everybody can apply. Then he said anyone, that he announced in first week of September. Then he announced, no, only those who apply up before October 1, on or before October 1, 2007, they will be considered. After all the applications that come in, even then 575 applications came in. On 10th of January he gives a statement that I have now decided that only those who applied on or before 25th September 2007 I will consider. That's totally illegal. You have put a cut-off date of 1st October 2007. After it is over and two and a half, almost 3 months later, you decide that it is going to be 25th of September. And so the applications get cut down. Then he puts another condition on the 10th of January, which he issues only in his ministry website, that he issues at 2:45 p.m. on 10th January, in which the press release says, from 3:30 to 4:30 today, whoever brings a demand draft for 1650 crores will get the license. Now you tell me, in India you can't even get 1 crore demand draft in such a short time of 45 minutes. Yet 9 companies came with demand drafts. Obviously they had advance information. 2 of those companies were not even telecom companies. They were real estate companies. One was called Swan and the other was called Unitech. And both of them were sitting in Raja's room when the press release was being released. And they already had got the demand drafts. And as soon as the announcement came, they were ushered in by his private secretary and they were given the license. Since they had no experience whatsoever, they didn't have a single tower, they had no equipment. What did they do? They went and sold their licenses to 2 foreign companies. The rule in the Telecom Act is that unless you have worked on the license for 3 years, you cannot sell. Broken the law. And he allowed these 2 companies to sell. They sold it at 8 times. The market price was 10 times. But they sold it at 8 times to 2 companies. Tata sold it to Docomo for 13 times. All these 9 companies ended up having got the license at a low price. They sold at least a part of their shares to foreign companies. But Swan and Telecom, they went to such an extreme that one of them sold it to Etisalat, Dubai-based company, and the other sold it to Telenor, a Norwegian company which does all its business in Pakistan and Bangladesh. Now, surprisingly, the Home Ministry had an advisory that not in connection with this telecom licensing, but generally, even before the telecom licensing, that Etisalat and Telenor should not be allowed to do any business in India for national security reasons. Because Etisalat is, according to Intelligence Bureau, a front for the ISI of Pakistan. And its India company, Etisalat DB, its MD called Shahid Balwaz, he is an agent or an associate of Dawood Ibrahim. And as far as Telenor is concerned, although it's a Norwegian company, they said they buy the equipment from the Chinese army. And the Chinese army's telecom equipment can do both. It can also do cyber warfare. And so if they do business in India, then during a war, a possible war between India and China, this equipment can then be used for making all your computers of the Defense Department, Defense Ministry, null and void. So they said this, but it was disregarded. By then Chidambaram had become Home Minister. He should have known. There was some widespread criticism in the country why they were allowed to be sold. So Raja has written a office note which I got a copy of, in which he says that there's a note to his secretaries and officials. There's so much criticism that I allowed Swan and Unitech to sell off their companies to Etisalat and Telenor. But it was Mr. Chidambaram who told me that I can do it and I should do it. Then if Raja is in jail, what is Chidambaram doing outside the jail? I said this to the Supreme Court on the 13th of May, that here are the documents which show that Mr. Chidambaram was as much a party to the decisions as Raja is. And if Raja is being prosecuted and is in jail for it, then Chidambaram should go. The court said we want a full hearing on this, and they have fixed 24th August because earlier I could not accept the date because I was to teach at Harvard. I teach every year in the summer at Harvard University. I teach economics. So I requested the court gave me 24th. I'm reasonably sure that after 24th, Mr. Chidambaram will also be in Tihar jail. There are many more. Raja went first, then Kandimori, soon Dayanidhi Maran, because he forced one of the telecom companies to sell to a Malaysian who has LTT connections. I mean, these people have no patriotism at all. This is what corruption does. When you want to just make more money, look for every shortcut to make money. And if Raja has gone in, some Rani must go in also. Even if she is Italian. They are no more calling Tihar jail, they are calling it Club Tihar. They are serving masala dosas nowadays there. Because so many Tamilians are in jail. Soon they will be serving pizzas also. So you have today, because of corruption, your economy distorted. your development therefore affected.
Financing of terrorism is becoming possible.
Mike.
The problem is not with
Then it spreads, you see. There's a huge influx of people from Bangladesh. The BSF is supposed to stop it. And they are in full strength there. But once the culture of corruption comes, the BSF takes money and lets them in. Now people say this is communal to point this out. I say, how can it be? After all, when partition was created, the British said there are Muslims who cannot bear to live with Hindus, so they have to get a separate area. And that's how Pakistan was created. But once you create Pakistan, of which now Bangladesh has gone alone, has gone separate, then the same Muslims come back to your country and start living with Hindus. Then I think in the proportion in which they have come, we must get the land also back, because after all it's all Indian land. I would say that the impact of corruption is an extraordinarily serious dimension now, and we have to fight it now.